So Archana has given me a good time. So it's exactly 1 o'clock, and I'm sure you are hungry. But for some time, I won't take a big presentation. It's a short presentation. Let us talk. So let's. Just to give a brief background about myself. 23 years I have been in the industry, automotive industry, and also been with plastics. And it's only 1 year experience I have as an entrepreneur. So probably I am still at a very initial stage of my entrepreneurship. And hopefully with the support of the industry and with you people, I am sure that I will be successful. And I hope that I get your support to be successful. So it's always good to know or to share with people something that you have learned along the way. And today what I'm going to do is, take a very small thing which probably I wanted to share with you, which probably we lack in India, and which can help us to bridge some of the missing links that we have in whatever we are doing in India. So I thought I will share that with you. It's a very small item, but I'm sure that it will be beneficial for you to understand that small snippet or that small missing link, which probably we are missing somewhere and which can help us in this industry. So many of you must have seen this puzzle either in magazines or in books when you were small or when you are with your children. And you would see that it's written that please complete this picture by connecting the dots so that you come to know what the final picture is. I also feel that the plastics industry today, with the progress that we have done, maybe 20 years back, the consumption was around 1.4, 1.5 kg per annum, and now at 8 kg per annum. There's still a long way from the average that we have. But I'm sure that we still have some missing links in this full picture for us to, also make it as a core sector in the Indian economy and how we can contribute to this. So let's go by seeing what this could be. So as you start connecting the dots, you will know that there are a lot of people in this forum. There are processors, there are designers, there are raw material manufacturers, machine equipment manufacturers. So how all of them can be sort of integrated so that you are a much powerful force when we go to any solution or any problem that we face, and how we can address these issues. And once you start connecting these dots, then you will come to know, okay, I start connecting these dots and then I have a picture in front of me. So this is what we are trying to do. Since my experience is from the automotive industry, I would like to take you through some of the global aspects of how the automotive industry generally works and how we can come down to one of those missing links which will help us in the plastics industry. These are some of the major trends that we have in the automotive industry. I know there are similar trends which are happening also in the plastics industry, but this is more to do with automotive, where there is a lot of demand of mobility in India. You stay in one place, you work in another place, and you also have seen the growth of the airline industry, which also means there's a lot of travel. So there is a lot of mobility that is happening within India. And India being a big country, it also takes time for us to travel. So definitely this is one of the major mega trends that we see happening in the automotive industry. There is mobility in India. The second is urbanization and mega cities. So in mega cities, you have a concentration of people which go to where the economy flows, and you will see that people come towards this urban culture. There are also trends or rules or regulations which the government puts in front of us with respect to, we did discuss about BS3, BS4 norms. So it's also becoming very aware that India as a country should definitely contribute towards protection of the environment. And we also had some demographic changes which are there. We also saw the statistics in some earlier presentations, but this also drives a lot of things. I will just take few examples of what I'm talking to you about. Let's take the example of country-specific features in mobility. What is happening is, you know, two years back when I was having a presentation in the automotive manufacturing conference in Delhi, I was with Dr. Penske from BMW, and he mentioned one thing, that I want to manufacture BMW in India, but there is one problem which I want to solve, which I realized after visiting India for, let's say, 10-15 things. That is, I need to improve the horn of my vehicle. So what he has understood is, even though he has one of the best products in Europe, when it comes to India, you still have to make an improvement in the horn so that it becomes applicable to India. So there are country-specific requirements which will come in the Indian market, and these are where we can really play a big role. I'll give you one more example. You know, now many small cars are being designed in India. And in India, we have a practice of keeping our, you know, the gods on the dashboard. So if you see the old cars which are there, normally you have such a design that you avoid having a flat surface which is there. But all the new cars which are launched in India, you would see that there is some storage or some flat surface which is there at the center to keep that idol of Ganesh or other gods. So these are some of the things that get country specific and gets implemented in many of these designs. So I'm not going into many other things like emissions. It's controlled by the BS3, BS4 norms. So as regulations come in, one more thing that is happening in the trend are safety regulations. If you go down, you will see a lot of safety regulations coming in. And what happens is, you add any safety item, it increases the weight of the car. Like airbags. Earlier, it is still not a mandatory requirement unless, except in few areas. But once an airbag is introduced into the car, then the weight of the car increases. So how do you compensate for that? Is by lightweighting. So many a times, you would see that when lightweighting becomes an important factor, that is where polymers play a very important role. So there are a lot of opportunities. So if you see the trend and if you see what is happening, I feel that there is really a tremendous potential for this industry to grow. And I have seen this industry for a long time, and I strongly believe that it is 2020 where we'll really be, you know, really on top of the world. What does this industry, when you have such a complex industry where so many trends are there, you have lightweighting, you have, it becomes very complex. You know, everything is so complex, you don't know what to do. So what you have to do is, you know, try and capture some of those challenges. It's not that you will be able to pinpoint each and everything, but maybe identify a few challenges. So I have just identified 2 or 3 challenges, and some of them are as, you know, the life of the product reduces. It's important that you also develop the product at a very fast rate. So the product development cycle really speeds up a lot. At the same time, we know that in the plastics industry, the more the volume, the better the productivity. But if you see the automotive sector, the volume of the cars are actually going down for the model. So if you have a model, if you really see the trend, then you will see that the life of the model is less, but so the volumes over the life of the car is definitely less, but in short periods there will be very high volumes for those vehicles. So that trend we need to understand. So it also makes important for us not only looking at if you map the complete cost structure for whatever molded parts or blow molded parts that we are doing, where material is an important thing, where you also look for alternate material. But there's a lot of things that we can do internally to control a lot of the waste, which earlier speakers have mentioned about. And what is the best way to explain to you is to find a solution to the challenge. And it's very easy. I've just taken one example where speed to market becomes very important. But at the same time, you should not miss on some strategic impact, the product definition that are required for the boundary conditions. We should not forget these when we go into introducing the product at a much faster rate. I will take a small example. I am now trying to go more deep into the product, and I thought I will take a very simple example so that many of us understand the product, and then I will tell you what needs to be done. I am not going into details of this value chain mapping because it only shows the process of how a product gets introduced. Let's take this example of A-pillar. So people who drive automotive, I think many of you know, I don't know how many of you know A-pillar. Do you know which is a A-pillar? How many of you all know A-pillar? It is the first pillar where you are driving, the first pillar which touches the windshield and also the dashboard and the headliner. So that is a small part. If you observe, I mean, when you go out and all, you observe, it's a very simple part. And it just covers the sheet metal structure which is there. So we in India, suppose we tell some of our guys or many of you people, like how much time does it take to make such a part? So we say that, okay, we design this part in 3 or 4 days maximum, and then you make a tool for let's say 3-4 months, and then you do all the processing and all, and then in 6 months the product is ready. But in that, the first time when you actually make that part in 3-4 days, do you really understand you can do it in 3-4 days or maybe 1 week if you know certain things? If you know what is the gap that you need to keep with the windshield. Why that is important? Because if the gap with the windshield is not important, when the car moves, it starts squeaking. There is a squeaking noise that you will get. So it's important to know that what is the gap that is required between the plastic and the windshield. And what is the other challenge? You know that it goes from the dashboard to the headliner. The second thing is, how should it be with the headliner? Should the A-pillar be on top of the headliner, or the headliner should be on top of the A-pillar? Then you have more challenges. You have, the gap between the sheet metal. You normally fix it on the sheet metal structure. How much should be the gap between the sheet metal and this plastic part? Do we know that? Because if it is very close, then it starts rattling, and if it is very far, in Indian condition, insects and other things can go inside, because there is a wire which goes inside that, which connects to the lamp on the headlamp, which is the headliner lamp, which is there in the interior of the car. So I still feel that in India, we still don't have answers for these, and these does not come very easily. What should be the gap between the A-pillar and the windshield? It's very difficult. And in fact, many of us still don't know. So what do we do in such a situation? Sorry? Elastomer, okay. So you can put an elastomer and avoid the squeaking. So good solution, but you are adding one part and increasing the cost of the part. Correct. So there are a lot of solutions, but it's important to understand that there are two aspects when we do things. I think our earlier speaker also talked about know-how, but I feel that strongly what we need in India is the know-why. I know it's a very simple word, you must have heard it before, but we have a lot of know-how, but we still don't know why. Why there is a gap of 2 mm with the windshield, why there is a gap of 6 mm from the sheet metal structure, or why the A-pillar always interfaces with the headliner. The A-pillar is always on top of the headliner. So those are things that we need to address, and probably after the session, if any of you want to know into details, then I can definitely explain that to you. So I'm not getting into details of this for short of time. You have to get into a lot of classification, detailed analysis, studies for just one part. You have to have all the interface diagrams. If you also observe in the A-pillar, I'll just take you back to this diagram, that A-pillar also is part of a blind spot when you are driving. When you are driving, it actually obstructs your view. So there is also a requirement that it should be as thin as possible, but still meet all those requirements. So unless you get into details of all these concepts and you go in a very systematic way of developing that, you still end into a problem. So I'm just showing you some of the sections. A-pillars are normally fixed using three fixing locations. And then finally you create the design. And then, but with this also what we have done is we have just tried to put one of the missing link into the whole thing. It is just one or two of the dots that we have joined, because the picture is still quite big. And then comes selection of the raw material, because once you have designed, you do keep in mind what raw material you use, but you also then look at the various options that are there and then select the raw material. You also work on the manufacturing processes. So there are various processes by which this simple part like A-pillar can be used. Normally it's injection molded, but there are also thermoformed solutions. There are also fabric bagged. If you look at the higher end cars, you would see a fabric bagged A-pillar, which also requires technologies like laser cutting and all, which were discussed. Or there are technologies which you can cut it in the mold itself. So it's also a mold technology that comes into play. And you also are familiar with the various tools that you can use to improve this. So you have a lot of processes like lean, TPM, by which you can definitely improve your processes and then create the final picture. So it's very important that we start linking these small things wherever we find a missing link, so that we can create that final picture. So to conclude, it's very important that we understand what the mega trends are. And from the mega trends, we derive the challenges that we have and then provide solutions to these challenges. And understanding know why rather than know how, and benchmark processes. So this is a short presentation that I have, and I thought it would be good to share this with you. Thank you. I have just one slide on my products. Just one slide. This is just to give you a brief about AutoDynamics. You know, I was working for 23 years and then started just 1 year back. And I thought that I will openly tell you all the new products that I'm not only working, it's also there in the market. I have slightly diversified also from plastics and automotive into non-automotive also, because that is one of the things that I decided when I said that I will become an entrepreneur. And because of the experience that I had with automotive industry, with plastics industry, I said I should slightly diversify. I'll just tell you of a few products, just 2 products. One of them that you see on the screen is called as Wedge Wash. It's actually a product which is used for washing vegetables of pesticides, bacteria, and all the preservatives and other things. So the way you wash your hand, to clean your hand, you can actually wash the vegetables using this particular solution. And we have tied up with all the big retail chains, and it's now available across India. So this is one of the products. The second product, which probably related to polymers, would be the Cng Cylinder. It's one of the first of its kind in India, designed and manufactured in India. We have a patent for this also. It's available outside India, but in India, we have patented this and we have introduced this, and it's waiting for some government approvals. It's a plastic tank. It has a plastic liner with epoxy and filament winding. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, and I would want to call Dr. Gaur. Dr. Gaur, can we have you here, please, to give a small memento of our appreciation? A big round of applause. I think it is really reacting to the market demands. That is what entrepreneurship is all about.